Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer. No, I'm not Hank the Dog. He is Gery Woelfel.
I'm Hank the Dog.
Of Racine Journal Times. Time to talk some BACA football right here on some Sports Junkies. Okay, I haven't talked Packers in a while, and Ted Thompson shocks the world and actually signs somebody of note. Julius Pepper gets a deal with the Green Bay Packers. How much of an impact do you think Julius Peppers has?
Well, first of all, did anybody see this coming?
No, there were suggestions that he would fit, but then everybody follows that up with, well, it's Ted, so
no,
probably not.
No, I mean, that came out of nowhere.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, I thought it was a great move. I'm not a big Thompson fan, but I'll tell you what, he has absolutely nothing to lose. I can't, up front, how much did they give him?
7.5.
7.5.
But they can get out after 1 year, and his cap number only like $5 million in 2015.
So, but I mean, in situations, he's still a very good player. I guarantee you he's going to help him.
As I've stated before on the radio, I'll state here as well, too. Mm-hmm. I think it all depends on how they use him at this point. If they use him like Cullen Jenkins and play him next to B.J. Raji at the nose, I think you limit how good he can be. I think he gets worn down, beat up.
I agree.
I don't like that. Now, if they create this elephant position, which McCarthy has alluded to in the offseason, which is kind of like a Charles Haley of the San Francisco 49ers or Bryce Paup with the Packers.
Right.
Where now you become a fourth essential down lineman, but you're lined up outside of the tight end with your hand in the dirt. Now I think he has a chance to be special for this team and really open up things for Clay Matthews on the other side. And the other part about this is, if it was me, if I was Mike McCarthy, I would rotate him and Nick Perry at that elephant position. Mm-hmm. And so neither one is playing necessarily a full game of snaps. And the other reason to do this, besides keeping them both fresh, is if they're both going against the same guys, Perry can learn from Julius Peppers what Peppers is seeing that these guys are doing and tipping off, and to help Nick Perry understand how to play the game of football when he's out there on the field. So yes, you lose Kevin Green as outside linebackers coach, but you pick up Julius Peppers, who could teach your former number one pick how to really advance his game.
So I think Thompson took step one towards making that defense better. Okay, the draft's coming up, and my big complaint with the Packers, besides free safety, is their linebacking core. I think their linebacking core is average at best.
Their middle linebackers aren't very good.
I mean, you can say Matthews is an impact player, and absolutely, but you take the other three, especially if you're going to stay with the 3-4. I think they're just run-of-the-mill pedestrian-type linebackers. They got to go out and find somebody that can create, some havoc.
Well, they need a middle linebacker in the worst way.
Correct.
C.J. Mosley is a guy from Alabama that'll be there in the draft. He's had some neat questions. So maybe he falls to the Packers. He shouldn't. If he does, something went dramatically wrong. But if he gets to the Packers obviously should take him. Outside of him, I don't think there's a middle linebacker that's worth taking at the end of one.
Right.
Then the other position you have is the safety position. Mm-hmm. Both safeties, Clinton and Dix from Alabama, Kelvin Pryor from Louisville, both are expected to be gone before the Packers pick.
Right.
So now the question is going to be, the other guy that there's possibility of is Rashid Hageman, from the defensive lineman from Minnesota, who could line up next to Raj. He's like 6'6", just a gigantic man. Now, if those four guys are off the board, I sound like we're doing the Bucs video all over again. But if those four guys are off the board, I think he thinks about going back and moving back.
He beat me to the punch. This is the draft where, you know what, I wouldn't be all opposed to him moving back.
Deep.
But having said that, I think the Packers are at a situation now. They need immediate help. Don't bring in guys that are projects. I mean, they got to make a run now and then over the next 3-4 years.
But safety is a position where I think if he moves back in an early two, he can still get his impact safety that he wants. Now, it's not going to get the level as the other two, obviously, but he can go back and still do fine.
And that's where I disagree. Who have been the Packers' two best safeties?
In the second round.
Exactly. You beat me to the punch. So it just goes to show that you can get a quality safety in the second round. I mean, personally, I would take one in the first round if he's there on the board. But you can't do it. The Packers have proven it with Butler. They proved it with Collins.
Right. But this is the other thing. I think Ted Thompson is old school. And old school, I mean for years and years and years
He's not
and
into
years.
analytics.
No general manager would take a safety in the first round because their thought was, I can get him later. I can convert a corner into a safety and make it work. There's talk of Micah Hyde being moved from cornerback to safety next year, okay?
We talked about that last year before camp.
Before it happened. So if that happens, and if he's comfortable with that, he may very well wait on safety.
Correct.
I'll tell you what I think is going to happen, and I've been saying it for months. They're going to take Eric Ebron, that tight end, out of North Carolina if he's sitting there with the first pick.
And Buddy Boy, there is no chance in heaven he's going to be there.
Well, I don't know if he's or not. I'm just saying if he's there, they may take him.
I could see him going in the top 12, top 14. I have no belief that he'll be there when the Packers.
I think he's a very, very good player.
No question.
But that tight end position is a position that I thought and been saying from months,
right.
that the Packers will take a tight end in the first round. Now the other guy is Jason Morrow. So if Ebron's gone, Amaro would be there. Now how high is Amaro compared to everybody else? If those four players we talked about are off the board and Ebron's 5 and he's off the board, now what do? It's going to be interesting. Or does Ted shock the world and go up? He shocked the world and came up back in the first to get Clay Matthews. Will he shock the world and move up high enough to go get one of those safeties? Or go get C.J. Mosley? Or go get Rashid Hageman?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, Ted did something different this year by getting Julius Peppers. So will he do something different again and get super aggressive in the draft?
And you got to give him props for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's exploring his options, and he's and that is a sign of a good general manager. I mean, he's looking at what he can possibly do. But besides the two guys you mentioned, I heard there's like 4 or 5 tight ends in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, the tight end.
There's a kid from
Darowitz or whatever his name is, Frederowitz from
Iowa. Correct.
Right. That is
There's
really
supposed to be a tight end from Notre Dame that a lot of people like. So if they want a tight end, one's going to be there, no question.
Because they have to get one. You can't go in with Corliss. Corliss is okay, and I mean
I
okay.
agree.
Bostic, I think, has potential to be better than Corliss. But how far along is his development, and are they comfortable?
And in today's NFL, you better have a good tight end.
Yes,
I mean, somebody to stretch because you got your wideouts are going to get open, obviously. But if you can put somebody down the middle and over the middle, that just enhances your team. It's imperative that they get a good tight end. I agree with you on Corliss. See, to me, Corliss is an average tight end.
The other position that I'm interested to see how this all shapes out is the fullback position that McCarthy no longer values. If John Kuhn is still there and they get him for minimum money, they'll bring back John Kuhn. But if John Kuhn doesn't come back, I think they're going to have to draft a fullback more than likely somewhere in the draft. Yeah. Not early, settle down.
Like
but at
5th
somewhere,
round, somewhere. Yeah.
They're going to have to go get a fullback. And I
question.
think if it's me now, this is me, I don't care if he can catch the football out of the backfield or not.
No.
I want somebody that's going to knock somebody's head off blocking in front of Lacey. Run a little bit more I formation than you have in the past. That's what Lacey liked to run in Alabama. Put a fullback in front of them and pound people. I love to see that. 4th and 1, get a big bruising fullback. Whammo! Lacey comes behind, whammo! And you get a couple of yards. That's what I want to see.
Whammo Fifer.
Whammo! That's what I want.
That's your new nickname, Whammo.
Yeah.
I agree with you, though. We are agreeing way, way too much today.
Oh, that's good.
No.
He's Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer. That'll do it for another edition of Sports Junkies. A little back and talk here at RacineSportsZone.com.